The moment those two fake HOA cops came sprinting down the sidewalk, one swinging a crowbar, the other gripping a knife, they thought they were about to jump an ordinary man. They didn't know my brother. They didn't know the two K9s trotting beside him, and they definitely didn't know those dogs weren't pets. They were fully trained military working dogs who had seen more combat than both those idiots combined. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. To understand why my brother didn't even blink when two grown men charged him, you need the backstory. And trust me, it didn't start with the attack. It started months earlier when the Ridgepine HOA collapsed under a new president, Karen Donnelly, a woman who acted like the neighborhood was her personal fortress. She enforced rules nobody voted for. She invented fines nobody approved. And she hated, absolutely hated, anyone who didn't bow to her little kingdom. The biggest reason she hated our family? My brother Marcus. Marcus had been a Navy SEAL for a decade. Tough, disciplined, deadly calm. When he left the service, he moved into the old family house with his two retired K9s, Titan and Ghost, both German shepherds with enough discipline to freeze a riot. Karen didn't like dangerous dogs in her neighborhood. She didn't like military attitudes. She didn't like the fact Marcus refused to pay the fake HOA patrol fees she invented. And she really didn't like that Marcus called her bluff and reported her made-up violations to the county. After that, everything escalated. Karen sent warnings, threat letters, fake penalties, even printed HOA security citations with her signature stamped at the bottom like she was some kind of warlord. Marcus ignored every one. Then last week, Titan and Ghost scared off two men snooping around Marcus's garage at 2 a.m., men wearing black vests with HOA cop spray painted across the back. When Marcus confronted Karen the next morning, she smirked and said, "Maybe you should keep your dogs under control. Things happen around here." That was the moment we knew Karen wasn't just being dramatic. She was planning something. And this morning, it arrived. Marcus was walking Titan and Ghost down our street, calm, relaxed, when a dented HOA truck screeched to a stop at the corner. Two men jumped out wearing those same black HOA cop vests, crowbar in one hand, knife in the other. They approached him with that cheap, tough guy walk bullies practice in front of mirrors. "Marcus," the crowbar guy called, grinning. "Karen says those mutts violate HOA code." The knife guy added, "She wants the dogs turned over. Dangerous animals must be put down." Titan growled. Ghost bristled. Marcus didn't raise his voice. Didn't take a step back. "I'm walking my dogs," he said, turning away. "You clowns have 3 seconds to get off my street." That's when Crowbar hissed. "Wrong answer." Marcus took one step, just one. Both men lunged at once, crowbar swinging, knife flashing, boots pounding the pavement. Titan and Ghost's ears snapped forward, their muscles tightened, Marcus's jaw set like steel, and that was the final second before everything exploded. Because the next moment, those men learned exactly what military canines are trained to do. The moment both fake HOA cops lunged, Marcus didn't shout, didn't panic, didn't even break stride. He just gave one command, a single, sharp word, engage. Titan and Ghost exploded forward like two missiles released from a launcher. The knife guy didn't even get his blade halfway up before Titan was on him. 200 pounds of trained muscle slammed into his chest, knocking the air out of him in one violent grunt before Titan's jaws locked onto his forearm, right on the tendons. The knife clattered across the pavement. The man screamed, a raw, panicked sound, as Titan twisted, forcing him flat onto the concrete. At the same exact millisecond, Ghost launched at the crowbar guy. The man swung once, wild and desperate. It didn't matter. Ghost bit down on his wrist with precision so perfect it looked rehearsed. The crowbar dropped instantly, metal bouncing across the asphalt, and Ghost dragged him down, pinning him to the ground with a snarl that froze the entire street. Two men. Two weapons, two threats, neutralized in under 3 seconds. Marcus didn't raise his voice, didn't break a sweat. Titan, hold. Ghost, pressure. Both dogs stiffened, tightening their grips just enough to keep the attackers screaming, but not enough to cause permanent injury unless instructed. That's the difference between pets and military canines. The knife guy, sweating and shaking, tried something unbelievably stupid. He reached with his free hand toward the knife on the ground. Marcus stepped in and crushed his wrist with his boot, pinning it to the asphalt. "Don't," Marcus warned calmly. The man whimpered. Titan growled. On the other side of the path, crowbar guy tried to push himself up. Ghost yanked him right back down. Face first, he wheezed, coughing into the dirt. "Please, call him off," he cried. Marcus ignored him. He bent down, picked up both weapons, the knife and the crowbar, and tossed them far out of reach. Then he hit the button on his tactical radio. "This is Marcus Donnelly. 2 armed attackers subdued. Request deputies and EMS, code 3. Just then, a familiar shriek cut across the neighborhood. Karen Donnelly herself came storming down the sidewalk, hair wild, face red, pointing at Marcus like she was conducting an orchestra made of rage. "You let them go right now," she screamed. "They are HOA officers. They have authority." Marcus didn't move. He just slid a small leather wallet from his pocket and flipped it open. U.S. Navy SEAL veteran ID. Tactical certification, K9 handler authorization. Karen stopped mid-stride. Her mouth fell open. Her hands dropped. Her voice died. Right as the sheriff's cruiser screeched onto the street, deputies jumped out, weapons drawn, then paused when Titan and Ghost held perfectly still, not moving an inch except to growl softly at the attackers. "Holy hell," one deputy muttered. "Those dogs are trained." The knife guy broke first. "It was Karen," he cried, sobbing. "She told us to neutralize the dogs. She said they were a threat. She ordered it." Karen's eyes went wide. "You idiot," she snapped. "I told you not to." A deputy cut her off. "Ma'am," he said, stepping toward her slowly, "you're under arrest too." Karen's jaw dropped. Her entire world collapsed in one sentence. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe because the story is only going to get better. The street was chaos, sirens fading, deputies spreading out, neighbors peeking from porches, but Marcus didn't move an inch. Titan and Ghost still held their positions, muscles tight, ears forward, eyes locked on the 2 fake HOA cops bleeding into the pavement. The deputies eased closer. "All right, boys," Marcus said quietly. "Release." Titan let go first, stepping back with a low rumble in his chest, but never taking his eyes off the knife guy. Ghost followed, backing up slow, tail stiff, waiting for the next command. The 2 fake HOA cops didn't try to move. Couldn't move. Knife guy's arm was shredded, deep punctures running across the meat of his forearm. Blood dripped down to his fingertips. Crowbar guy's wrist was twisted, swollen, already turning colors, and he kept wheezing between cries of pain. Deputies swarmed them. "Tie them," the sergeant ordered, "and get EMS rolling." As soon as their hands were cuffed, knife guy broke completely. "It was Karen," he cried again, louder this time, staring at the deputies like he was trying to save his own soul. "She hired us. She gave us the weapons. She said the dogs were a threat to the HOA. Crowbar guy nodded rapidly, voice shaking. "She paid us under the table. She told us to subdue the owner and put the dogs down before they hurt someone. I swear we didn't want to. She said she had legal protection. She said she'd cover everything." Karen stood frozen, color draining from her face so fast it looked like someone unplugged her. A deputy turned toward her slowly. "Ma'am, is that true?" Karen tried to find her voice. "They're lying," she snapped. A second deputy held up the crowbar and knife Marcus had kicked away. "These were found in your enforcer's hands." Karen's lips trembled. Before she could invent another lie, the sergeant approached her with cuffs in hand. "Karen Donnelly, you are under arrest for conspiracy to commit assault, using civilians as armed enforcers, ordering harm to military K9s, filing fraudulent HOA citations, and inciting violence." "No, no, wait," she pleaded, backing away. "You don't understand. I run this community. I was protecting." The cuffs clicked shut. Her scream echoed down the street as she was led to the cruiser. Titan watched her go with a slow wag of his tail, almost smug. Hours later, the fake HOA cops were in the hospital, bandaged and shaking. And the moment detectives explained what charges they were facing if they kept quiet, they cracked like cheap plastic. Both men told the exact same story. Karen hired them. Karen armed them. Karen told them to intimidate Marcus. Karen told them to neutralize Titan and Ghost. The knife guy even whispered, she said if we didn't do it, she'd find someone who would. By the next morning, the DA dropped the hammer. Karen Donnelly got 13 years in state prison plus $45,000 restitution. Conspiracy, armed incitement, attempted harm to trained service animals, fraudulent citations, everything stacked. Knife guy, 6 years for armed assault. Crowbar guy, 2 years after a plea deal and after doctors confirmed permanent nerve damage. The Ridgepine HOA collapsed within a week under lawsuits, investigations, and residents demanding full dissolution. Marcus didn't celebrate. He didn't brag. He didn't even talk about it much. That evening, he walked into the yard, tossed a tennis ball across the grass, and watched Titan and Ghost take off like rockets. He grinned and said, "Training never stops." And that's how Karen Donnelly's entire fake empire collapsed in one afternoon, taken down by 2 K9s, a Navy SEAL, and the truth. What do you think, folks? Did those fake HOA cops and their president get exactly what they deserved? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear it. The end.